Are you looking to hire a graphic designer and you want to know what their kryptonite is? Stay tuned and we'll find out. Now, it's easy to say that most graphic designers are fairly temperamental and really creative types, and sometimes they are business people too. But it can be really difficult to find just the right match with just the right price, with just the right location at just the right time. So how do you know what questions to ask them? And is it worth asking them all these questions only to find out that they're not available or they're too expensive? And how do you go about this entire process? Well, let's break it down to some steps. First of all, you want to make sure that the person is near your location, and if they are not, you just move on. That's the very first step. Second of all, you want to go into detail about their thought process and their project process, because a designer that doesn't think through their process is not a designer, but some kid that plays on Photoshop. You might be thinking to yourself, well, how do I know what to ask them about their design process? I'm not a designer. Well, it's simple. All you really have to do is bring them in for an interview, take them to coffee, bring them into your office, go to their office, whatever the situation is. And once the conversation starts to flow, just say, well, how would you go about designing somebody a logo? Or how did you go about designing the last logo that you designed? Was it pen to paper first? How did you go about doing it? And sit back and listen. Most of the time, designers are happy to talk about what they've done, especially when it's something cool. Like for me, it was a barbershop that I love to do. So most of the time, designers are happy to talk about it. If they're not, something sketchy is going on, let me tell you. Third of all, you want to make sure that whoever your designer is not somebody that has some sort of hidden habit that's going to distract and derail your entire project like 3 months in. So you want to say, well, how do you get unstuck in your creative process? Is it something that, maybe you clear your head, go off to the woods, or is it something that, maybe you derail your entire life for about 3 months and you just do absolutely nothing and you sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat Cheetos? A little exaggerated, I know. Fourth of all, you want to make sure that whoever you hire is great to work with. You want to make sure that they're a good person, so as you're feeling them out and you're understanding what their character is like, you want to make sure that they're going to be okay, especially if you don't like their design. So you say to them maybe something like, all right, so what's happened in the past if somebody didn't like your design or something, and if they say something like, well, nobody's ever really not liked my design, that's a red flag right there, because art is subjective. We all know that. I mean, even I didn't like the Apple logo when it first came out. And even I didn't like the new Verizon logo when it first came out, I'll be honest, but art is always subjective. So if somebody's going to tell you that nobody ever didn't like their logo, they're just lying to you to try and impress you, and you don't want lying within your business. You want to be able to have somebody that's transparent and say, well, hey, if you don't like my stuff, then X, Y, and Z will happen. And you want to be very clear-cut with those things up front. This way, when they come up later, or if they come up later, you at least know what the process is. You at least know what is going to happen from the jump. Okay, so you got it. You got that off your chest. They're a super cool person. They're not temperamental. They have no crazy habits. All of this stuff is good. You're ready to work with them. Well, you need to make sure that they're organized, because the last thing that you want is for them to lose your files. So you just say, well, how do you go about handling multiple projects? Is this something that, you finish one entire project and then you move on? Or am I going to wait 6 months after I hire you for you to start my project? Or do you manage multiple projects at once? How does that work? And you can simplify that. So this is simple enough. And I think that I've given you a pretty concise way to interview your graphic designer. And speaking from a graphic designer's perspective, this shouldn't be that hard of an obstacle to overcome in order to get the job. You should be able to, have your portfolio ready. You should be able to handle these questions. You should be able to tell them what your process is like, to be able to tell them how you organize your files and can you manage multiple jobs. All of these things should be able to be mutual exchanges of value in order for you to come to an agreement of what the project is going to be like. If all of these things can't be handled and you don't feel comfortable with all of these things, then that's probably not your guy. On top of the fact that if they're not in close vicinity to you, you probably shouldn't be working with them, just for the mere fact that you want to see the person that you're going to be investing tons of money into your company with. Because like I talked about in my last video, you should be investing into your company, not into the designer. You should have a set budget, and that budget should be going to your company alongside with your designer, not the other way around. So I hope this video helped out, and I hope you'll be able to take this and apply it towards your next designer. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Angel, and this is Angel Media. If you want to follow us on Instagram @_AngelMedia. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have any comments or if I missed anything, please let me know in the comment section below. You guys are awesome. Thanks.